The meeting room was quiet except for the soft hum of the air system. Commander Ta-1 Park stood in front of the large screen, his face lit by the red warning messages flashing across it. His hands were steady, but his jaw was tight. The news was bad, very bad. Princess Doohy has been taken, he said to the room full of Earth's top military leaders. The Stellar Commonwealth needs our help. General Song leaned forward in her chair. When did this happen? 6 hours ago. The princess was visiting the outer colonies when her ship disappeared. An hour later, the kidnappers sent their message. Commander Park touched the screen, and a new image appeared. The kidnapper's face was hidden behind a mask, but his voice was clear. We have your princess. We are the Stellar Liberation Front. If you want to see her again, surrender the military bases in the Centauri system. You have 3 days. The room burst into loud talking. Earth had only joined the Stellar Commonwealth 2 years ago. They were the newest members, the youngest alien civilization to join the group. Many alien races still thought humans were too primitive to be part of their alliance. They're asking for a lot, said Admiral Lee, shaking her head. Those bases protect major trade routes. Commander Park nodded. The Commonwealth Council is meeting right now, but they've already asked Earth for help. Us. General Song looked surprised. Why? We're their newest member. Our technology isn't as advanced as theirs. A small smile appeared on Commander Park's face. That's exactly why they want our help. The kidnappers will expect Commonwealth tactics. They'll be ready for advanced technology and large military operations, but they won't be ready for how Earth does things. He touched the screen again, showing a map of the area where the princess was taken. The Commonwealth usually sends in large rescue teams with the latest technology, but that's what the kidnappers will be watching for. We're going to do something different. What do you suggest? Admiral Lee asked. We send one person, one warrior. Commander Park's words made everyone sit up straight. Someone who knows both modern combat and old fighting styles. Someone who can think differently than the aliens expect. General Song frowned. One person. Against what could be an army. Yes. Commander Park's voice was firm. The kidnappers will be watching for ships, for armies, for advanced weapons. They won't be watching for a single human warrior. That's our advantage. He brought up another screen, this one filled with personnel files. I've been looking through our best soldiers. We need someone special. Someone who understands both fighting and diplomacy. Someone who can solve problems without always using weapons. Admiral Lee nodded slowly, beginning to understand. And you found someone. I have. Commander Park opened one file. A picture appeared on the screen. A man in his early 30s with calm eyes and a serious face. His name is HFY Kim. Former Special Forces, expert in traditional martial arts, and top of his class in alien cultural studies. The room was quiet again as they looked at the picture. This was a big risk. If they failed, Earth would look foolish in front of the whole Commonwealth. But if they succeeded, the Commonwealth thinks sending one person is crazy. Commander Park continued. They say it's primitive thinking. But that's good. Let them think we're primitive. Our warrior will show them that sometimes the old ways are the best ways. General Song stood up. I agree. When can he start? Commander Park checked his watch. HFY is already on his way here. Training begins in 1 hour. He looked around the room. The Commonwealth sent us their most advanced ships and weapons for this mission. We'll use them, but in our own way. As the leaders left the room, Commander Park stayed behind, looking at HFY's picture. Earth was about to show the galaxy that humanity's strength wasn't in its technology or its armies. Their strength was in the spirit of a single warrior, carrying the hopes of 2 civilizations. HFY Kim sat in the small waiting room, his back straight and his hands resting on his knees. He had arrived at Earth Defense Headquarters just 10 minutes after they called him. The room was plain, with white walls, and one small window showing the night sky. A clock on the wall ticked softly. The door opened, and Commander Park walked in. Hajun stood up quickly and bowed slightly, showing respect, but keeping his calm face. "Please sit," Commander Park said, taking a seat across from him. "Do you know why we called you here?" "No, sir," Hajun answered honestly. "The message only said it was urgent." Commander Park nodded and placed a small device on the table between them. A hologram appeared, showing Princess Doohie's official portrait. She looked young, but had wise eyes and a gentle smile. "This is Princess Doohie of the Stellar Commonwealth," Commander Park explained. "She was kidnapped 6 hours ago. The kidnappers want military bases in exchange for her life." Hajun studied the princess's image carefully. "Why are you telling me this, sir?" "Because you're going to rescue her." Commander Park's words were simple but heavy with meaning. "Alone?" Hajun's eyebrows went up slightly, the only sign of his surprise. He waited for more information, showing the patience he had learned in his years of training. Commander Park continued, "We looked at hundreds of soldiers, but you have something special." He touched the device, and new images appeared. Hajun's training records, mission reports, and test scores. "You understand both the old and the new ways. You know when to fight and when to think. Most importantly, you understand honor. Honor is not just about fighting," Hajun said quietly. "It is about doing what is right, even when it is difficult." Commander Park smiled. "That's exactly why we chose you. The Commonwealth thinks sending one person is foolish. They want us to send ships and armies, but sometimes the oldest solutions are the best ones." Hajun thought about this. The kidnappers will expect large rescue teams. They won't look for one person. "Exactly." Commander Park stood up and walked to the window. "We have 3 days. In that time, you'll learn everything we know about the kidnappers, the princess, and where they might be hiding. You'll also train with some very special equipment." He turned back to Hajun. "The Commonwealth has given us their best technology for this mission, but you'll use it in your own way, combining it with human fighting skills they won't expect." Hajun stood up and looked at the princess's image again. "When do we start?" "Now," Commander Park said. "But first, I need to know, do you think this mission is possible?" Hajun was quiet for a moment. When he spoke, his voice was firm. "In the old stories, the greatest warriors weren't the ones with the biggest armies. They were the ones who found clever ways to win. One person can succeed where an army might fail." Commander Park nodded, pleased with the answer. "The training room is ready. Dr. Myray has been working on something special for you, a new kind of combat suit that combines Earth's fighting styles with Commonwealth technology." As they walked to the training room, Hajun thought about the mission ahead. He had trained all his life in both modern and traditional fighting styles. He had studied alien cultures and learned their ways. Now he would use all of that knowledge to save not just a princess, but perhaps Earth's place in the Commonwealth too. The door to the training room opened, revealing a large space filled with both familiar and alien equipment. Dr. Myray stood next to a black suit that seemed to shimmer in the light. She smiled when she saw Hajun. "Welcome," she said. "Are you ready to show the galaxy what one human warrior can do?" Hajun bowed to her respectfully. "Yes," he said. "I am ready." The training room hummed with energy as Dr. Myray helped Hajun put on the combat suit for the first time. The black material felt strange against his skin, lighter than he expected but somehow strong. "This suit is special," Dr. Myray explained, adjusting something near his shoulder. "It learns from your movements. The more you train with it, the better it works with you." Hajun moved his arms and legs, testing how the suit felt. It was like wearing nothing at all, but he could feel a gentle support in every movement. When he took a fighting stance, the suit seemed to come alive, responding to his muscles. "Try a kick," Dr. Myray suggested. Hajun did a simple spinning kick, one he had practiced thousands of times. The suit moved with him perfectly, and he felt stronger, faster. But something was different. The suit had made no sound at all. "The suit absorbs all noise," Commander Park said from where he watched. "You'll be able to move in complete silence. The aliens won't hear you coming." For the next 12 hours, Hajun trained without stopping. He learned how the suit could make him invisible for short times, how it could help him climb walls, and how it could protect him from most weapons. But most importantly, he learned how to combine these new powers with his traditional fighting skills. "The aliens will expect someone using their technology in their way," Commander Park told him during a short break. "They won't expect someone using it with Earth's ancient fighting arts." While Hajun trained with the suit, other experts taught him about the kidnappers. He learned about the Stellar Liberation Front, their usual hiding places, and their weapons. He memorized maps of the outer colonies and learned about their security systems. Dr. Myray also gave him special tools. "This looks like a simple rope," she said, holding up what looked like a thin black cord. "But it's stronger than steel and can cut through most metals. And this," she showed him a small silver ball. "This can disable any electronic system within 10 meters. But you only have 3 of them, so use them wisely." At last, after 18 hours of non-stop training, Commander Park called Hajun to his office. A small ship waited outside the window, its black surface reflecting the stars. "That's your ride," Commander Park said. "It's the fastest stealth ship the Commonwealth has. It will take you to the outer colonies. After that, you're on your own." Hajun nodded, checking his equipment one last time. He had the suit, the special tools, and a small gun that fired darts filled with sleep medicine. Everything was designed to be quiet and hidden, perfect for one person working alone. "Remember," Commander Park said seriously, "the Commonwealth thinks this is impossible. They think one person can't succeed where an army might fail, but we know better. Sometimes the best warrior is the one nobody sees coming." Hajun bowed to Commander Park, showing respect for his teacher one last time. Then he turned to Dr. Myray, who had worked so hard to give him every advantage he could. "The suit will take care of you," she said softly. "Just trust in your training and trust in yourself." The night was quiet as Hajun walked to the ship. The stars above seemed to watch him, as if they too wondered if one human warrior could really do this impossible thing. The ship's door opened silently, waiting for him. Hajun took one last look at Earth, bright and beautiful in the night sky. Then he stepped into the ship, ready to show the galaxy what one determined human could do. The door closed behind him, and moments later, the ship disappeared into the darkness of space, carrying Earth's hopes with it. The asteroid looked dead and empty in the darkness of space. Hajun's ship approached silently, its stealth systems making it invisible to the security scanners. Through the window, he could see the abandoned mining facility where his mission would begin. The ship's computer had found this place by following the kidnappers' trail. Old supply records showed someone was still using power and bringing in food, too much for an empty facility. Hajun knew the princess had to be here. He checked his combat suit one last time. The black material adjusted itself perfectly to his movements as he prepared to leave the ship. Dr. Myray's voice came back to him. "Trust in your training. Trust in yourself." The ship landed quietly behind a pile of old mining equipment. Hajun stepped out, and immediately the suit adjusted to the asteroid's weak gravity. He could feel the suit helping him stay connected to the ground, making sure he wouldn't float away. Moving like a shadow, Hajun approached the facility's outer wall. His suit's sensors showed him where the security systems were: laser detectors, motion sensors, and camera networks. The aliens relied completely on their technology to protect them. That would be their mistake. Hajun remembered his old teacher's words: "The best path is often the one nobody thinks to watch." Looking up, he saw ventilation pipes running along the ceiling. The aliens would expect someone to try hacking their doors or cutting through walls. They wouldn't expect someone to enter like an ancient temple thief. Using the suit's climbing abilities, Hajun moved up the wall without making a sound. The suit kept him perfectly balanced as he reached the pipes. Just as he thought. There were no sensors here. Why would there be? No one could climb in this gravity without special equipment. But Ho-Jun could. The suit made it possible, and his years of training made it easy. He found a maintenance hatch in the pipes and slipped inside like smoke through a crack. The ventilation system was like a maze, but Ho-Jun had memorized the facility's maps. He moved carefully, counting the turns and junctions. Below him, he could hear voices, alien guards talking and walking. None of them looked up. After 20 minutes of silent crawling, Ho-Jun reached the main security room. Through a vent, he could see 3 guards watching screens that showed different parts of the facility. They looked bored and tired. They weren't expecting any trouble. Ho-Jun took out one of the silver balls Dr. Myre had given him. He waited until one guard left to get a drink, then dropped the ball through the vent. It made no sound as it hit the floor and rolled under a desk. A soft blue light pulsed once, and all the screens went dark. The guards jumped up, confused and scared. While they tried to fix their equipment, Ho-Jun slipped down from the vent and moved past them like a ghost. The suit kept him invisible, and his steps made no sound. He found a computer terminal in the corner and plugged in a small device Commander Park had given him. It would send false images to the security cameras when they came back online, hiding his movements through the facility. As Ho-Jun left the security room, he heard the guards calling for help. Their voices were worried. They didn't know that their real problem wasn't their broken equipment. It was the silent warrior now moving freely through their base. In the shadows of a quiet hallway, Ho-Jun checked the facility map in his suit's display. The prison cells would be 2 levels down. He moved toward the stairs, invisible and silent, ready to show these aliens why Earth had sent just one warrior instead of an army. The lower levels of the facility were quieter than the upper floors. Ho-Jun moved through the shadows, his suit keeping him invisible as he approached the prison area. His training had taught him that quiet places could be the most dangerous, so he stayed extra careful. 2 guards stood in front of a heavy door at the end of a long hallway. They looked more alert than the others he had seen. Ho-Jun watched them from around a corner, studying their movements. These guards were different. They stood straighter, moved better. They were real soldiers, not just security workers. Ho-Jun took out his sleep dart gun. He would have only one chance to take both guards down before they could raise an alarm. He remembered his teacher's words about shooting. Breathe in, breathe out, then act between heartbeats. The darts flew silently through the air. Both guards fell at the same time, making no sound as Ho-Jun caught them and laid them gently on the floor. He dragged them into a nearby storage room, making sure they were comfortable. Even enemies deserved respect. The door's lock was complicated, but Ho-Jun had trained for this. He plugged a small computer into the lock and waited while it worked. 30 seconds later, the door opened with a soft click. Inside was a surprise. Instead of a prison cell, Ho-Jun found a comfortable room. There were soft chairs, books, and even a table with fresh food. Princess Du, he sat in one of the chairs, reading a book. She looked up as he entered, showing no fear at all. "You must be from Earth," she said calmly. "Only a human would think to come alone." Ho-Jun let his suit's invisibility turn off. He bowed respectfully to the princess. "I am Ho-Jun Kim. I'm here to take you home." The princess put her book down and stood up. She was wearing clean, nice clothes, not what you would expect for a prisoner. "It's not that simple," she said. "Have you noticed that my door was locked from the inside, not the outside?" Ho-Jun felt surprise for the first time since starting his mission. He looked at the door's lock again. The princess was right. She had locked herself in. "The Stellar Liberation Front. Princess Du," he explained. "They're not just criminals. They found evidence of serious problems in the Commonwealth. Corrupt officials, stolen money, unfair laws. They brought me here to show me the truth." Ho-Jun listened carefully. This changed everything about his mission. Why didn't they just show this evidence to the Commonwealth Council? They tried, the princess said, but the corrupt officials blocked them. They felt they had no choice but to do something big, like kidnapping me. But they've treated me well, shown me respect. They just want someone to listen. Hajun thought about Commander Park's words about honor. Sometimes the right path is not the easiest one. Will you help me? Princess Dewey asked. Not to escape, but to fix these problems. The Commonwealth needs to change, but it needs to happen the right way. Hajun looked at the princess. She wasn't scared or angry. She was strong, smart, and wanted to do what was right. He made his decision. Earth sent me to help you, he said. If helping means finding the truth and fixing these problems, then that's what I'll do. But we'll need a plan. Princess Doohy smiled. I was hoping you would say that. The man who leads the Liberation Front, Kita Lee, he's been waiting to talk to you. He has an idea that might help us all. Kita Lee's office was small but neat. Hajun sat across from him, while Princess Doohy sat between them. On the desk, holographic images showed stacks of documents and records. Each one told a story of corruption in the Commonwealth. I was a Commonwealth investigator, Ketat explained, his voice quiet but firm. I found evidence that some high-ranking officials were stealing money meant for the outer colonies. When I tried to report it, they threatened my family. Hajun watched Ketat's face carefully. His years of training had taught him how to read people, and he could see the pain in Ketat's eyes. This was not a man who enjoyed breaking the law. Show him the colony records, Princess Doohy said. Ketat touched a button, and new images appeared. They showed poor colonies with broken buildings and sick people. Next to these were pictures of huge, beautiful houses owned by Commonwealth officials. The money that should have helped these people instead went here, Kita said, pointing to the houses. We tried everything legal first. We filed reports. We sent letters. We begged the council to investigate, but the corrupt officials blocked everything. Hajun thought about his mission. He had been sent to rescue the princess and arrest these people. But now he could see that doing that might help the real criminals stay in power. Why kidnap the princess? He asked. That made you look like criminals. Keita nodded sadly. We needed someone important to see the truth, someone who could make real changes. But we knew the officials would never let Princess Doohy visit the outer colonies normally. They keep her away from anything that might show her the real problems. Princess Doohy spoke up. They were right. I had no idea things were this bad. My advisors always told me everything was fine. Now I know they were lying to me. Hajun stood up and walked to the window. He could see the poor colony through it, its broken buildings lit by dim lights. His combat suit felt heavy as he thought about what to do. Earth sent me to help make things right, he said finally. But maybe arresting you isn't the right thing to do. Maybe helping you expose the truth is the real mission. Kita's eyes filled with hope. Then you'll help us. Yes, Hajun said. But we need to be smart about this. If we just release these records, the corrupt officials will say they're fake. We need to catch them in the act. Princess Doohy smiled. I have an idea. The officials think I'm a helpless hostage. They don't know I'm working with you. We can use that. Hajun listened as she explained her plan. It was clever but dangerous. They would pretend he was trying to rescue her, but actually, they would be gathering more evidence. The corrupt officials would reveal themselves trying to stop her rescue. It's risky, Kita said. If we fail, we'll all be arrested. Maybe worse. Hajun thought about Commander Park's words about honor and doing what was right. This wasn't the mission he expected, but it was the mission that needed to be done. Sometimes the hardest path is the right one, he said. We'll need to work together. Each of us has something to offer. My skills, your evidence, and the princess's authority. Together, we can fix this. The next morning, alarms rang through the facility. Red lights flashed in every hallway. Guards ran back and forth, their weapons ready. According to the security cameras, Princess Doohy had escaped from her room. All units, find the princess, a voice shouted over the speakers. The human warrior must be here somewhere. But this was all part of the plan. Hejun and Princess Duhi had spent hours working out every detail. While the guards searched the upper levels, Hejun and the princess moved quietly through the lower halls. His combat suit kept them both invisible. The corrupt official's secret files are in the main computer room, Princess Duhi whispered as they walked. They think keeping them here, in a rebel base, means no one will ever look for them. Hejun nodded. The princess's plan was clever. While everyone thought she was escaping, she would actually be collecting evidence. The officials would be too busy trying to stop her rescue to notice what she was really doing. They'd reached the computer room without any trouble. Most of the guards were searching other parts of the facility. Hejun helped the princess connect a small device to the main computer. It would copy all the secret files they needed. My father taught me about computers when I was young, Princess Duhi explained as she worked. The officials never thought I could do something like this. They always treated me like I was just a pretty decoration. While the princess worked, Hejun kept watch. Through his suit's sensors, he could track the guards' movements throughout the facility. Kita was helping too, sending guards to search in the wrong places. Suddenly, Hejun's suit picked up new signals. More ships are coming, he said quietly. The Commonwealth military must have found this place. Princess Duhi worked faster. Just a few more minutes. These files will prove everything. The stolen money, the lies, all of it. Hejun could hear boots in the hallway now. Guards were getting closer. He took out his last two silver balls, the ones that could disable electronic devices. They might need them soon. There, Princess Duhi said finally. I have everything. The files show exactly who took the money and how they hid it. No one can deny this evidence. Just then, Hejun's suit warned him about guards approaching from both directions. They were trapped in the computer room. But Hejun smiled. He had planned for this too. Hold on to me tightly, he told the princess. When she did, he threw one of the silver balls at the ceiling. Electronic systems in the area went dark, including the artificial gravity. In the darkness and confusion, Hejun used his suit's powers to climb the walls with the princess holding on to him. They moved through the ventilation system again, just like he had done when he first entered the facility. The Commonwealth ships will be here soon, Princess Duhi said as they moved. We need to make this look real. They have to believe you rescued me, or the corrupt officials will know we have their files. Hejun understood. For their plan to work, everyone had to believe this was a real rescue, not a secret mission to expose corruption. As they moved through the dark tunnels, he could hear the sounds of Commonwealth ships landing outside. Ready for the next part? He asked the princess. She nodded, holding the precious files tight. Ready. Let's show them what happens when they underestimate a princess and a human warrior. Commonwealth soldiers poured into the facility from all sides. At the same time, Hejun's suit sensors picked up angry voices from the Liberation Front's command center. Something was wrong. They know. Kite's voice came through Hejun's communicator, sounding worried. Some of my own people found out what we're doing. They think we're betraying the cause. They're coming for you and the princess. Hejun and Princess Duhi were hiding in a small storage room. The princess checked her data device, making sure the stolen files were safe. We need to get this evidence out, she said. But now we have enemies on both sides. Hejun fought quickly. The Commonwealth soldiers were searching the upper levels. The angry Liberation Front members were coming from below. They were caught in the middle, and they had to protect both the princess and Kita. Your Highness, Hejun said quietly, do you trust me? The princess looked at him and nodded. Yes, you've proven yourself honorable. Then hold on tight again. We're going to do something unexpected. Instead of running away from the angry Liberation Front members, Hejun and the princess moved toward them. His suit kept them invisible as they walked right past the group of rebels rushing up the stairs. Kita, Hejun whispered into his communicator. "Get to the east storage area. We're coming to help you." They found Kita hiding behind some boxes. 5 angry Liberation Front members had cornered him, their weapons ready. "You betrayed us," one of them shouted at Kita. "We were supposed to force changes, not make deals." Hejun set the princess down safely behind some heavy containers. Then he became visible, stepping out where everyone could see him. The rebel fighters turned their weapons toward him. "Your leader didn't betray you," Hejun said calmly. "He found a better way to fight corruption. Violence isn't always the answer." "Easy for you to say, human," another rebel shouted. "You don't know what it's like out here in the colonies." That's when Princess Dewey stepped out too, holding up her data device. "Actually, I know everything now. I've seen the evidence. I've seen how my people have suffered. And I promise you, the ones who caused this suffering will face justice." The rebels looked unsure now. They had never expected the princess to speak to them this way. But before anyone could say more, Commonwealth soldiers burst into the room from 2 directions. "Drop your weapons," the Commonwealth commander ordered. Everything happened very fast then. Some rebels raised their guns. The Commonwealth soldiers prepared to fire. Kita stepped forward, trying to stop the fighting. Hejun knew he had only seconds to prevent a disaster. He threw his last silver ball high into the air. When it burst, all the lights went out, and every electronic weapon stopped working. In the darkness, Hejun moved like wind. His years of training let him sense where everyone was. One by one, he disarmed both the rebels and the Commonwealth soldiers, moving so fast that no one could stop him. When emergency lights finally came on, everyone was surprised. All the weapons were piled in one corner. Hejun stood in the middle of the room, calm and ready. "Now," he said, "we can all talk like reasonable people." 1 week later, Hejun stood in the Great Hall of the Commonwealth Council. The room was huge, with tall windows showing the stars outside. Representatives from every Commonwealth world sat in rising rows, like a giant theater. Princess Dewey stood at the center, addressing them all. "These records show the truth," she said, her voice strong and clear. "Some of our highest officials have been stealing money meant for the outer colonies. They have been lying to us all." The evidence played on large screens around the room. Numbers, documents, and pictures showed exactly how the corrupt officials had taken money meant for schools and hospitals. The council members watched in shock as years of lies were revealed. Kita stood nearby, no longer a wanted rebel, but an honored witness. The members of his group who had helped expose the corruption would not be punished. Instead, they would help rebuild the colonies that had been cheated for so long. Commander Park sat next to Hejun, watching everything with a small smile. "When we sent one warrior instead of an army," he whispered, "the Commonwealth thought we were primitive. Now they understand that sometimes one person with the right skills and the right heart can do more than 1,000 soldiers." The corrupt officials tried to deny everything, but they couldn't. Princess Dewey had been very thorough in gathering evidence. One by one, they were taken away to face justice. The princess had kept her promise to the people of the outer colonies. "The Commonwealth will change," Princess Dewey announced. "We will create new laws to prevent this from happening again. Every colony will have a voice in our council, and Earth's way of solving problems, with wisdom and honor instead of just force, will help guide us." After the council meeting, Hejun prepared to return home. But Princess Dewey had one more surprise. "The Commonwealth needs someone to help us learn Earth's ways," she said. "Someone who understands both fighting and peace, both action and wisdom. Will you stay and teach us?" Hejun looked at Commander Park, who nodded. "Earth would be honored," the commander said. "And there's no one better for the job." So Hejun became Earth's first military teacher in the Commonwealth. He taught them that true strength wasn't just about having the best weapons or the biggest army. Sometimes it was about having the courage to find peaceful solutions to hard problems. The story of how Earth sent a single warrior to rescue a princess became famous throughout the Commonwealth. But the best part wasn't the rescue. It was how that warrior helped change an entire civilization for the better. One evening, Ho-Jum stood with Princess Du-hee, watching ships travel between the stars. The outer colonies were already starting to look better. New buildings were going up, and people had hope again. "You know," the princess said, when Earth first joined the Commonwealth, "many thought humans were too primitive to be part of our civilization. Now they say we were the primitive ones, thinking that power and technology were more important than wisdom and honor." Ho-Jum smiled. Every civilization has something to teach and something to learn. That's what makes the Commonwealth strong. As they watched the stars together, Ho-Jum thought about how his mission had changed from a simple rescue to something much more important. He had not just saved a princess. He had helped make the galaxy a better place, one honorable choice at a time.